Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chen Kai Yan.
Hi everyone, I'm Henry Fong from the group.
Today, we are going to introduce the process of making bread by videos and briefly explain the functions of each ingredient. The dish we are going to introduce would be the purple potato bread. And here is the list of the ingredients, including the bread flour, whole milk, brown sugar, vegetable oil, salt, instant yeast, and mashed purple potato. Then we just take a look at the videos about the cooking process of the bread. So now we're going to talk about the functions of each ingredient. The first ingredient would be the bread flour. Basically, this flour contains two types of proteins, gliadin and glutenin. So when you making the dough, you have to add the water. So these two types of protein will be hydrated to form the gluten. Also, the leading is also necessary because it can help to form the gluten, and the gluten can increase the ability of holding gas and the toughness of the dough. And the second important instant And the second ingredient would be the instant yeast. Basically, it's a kind of fungus. It's a living single-cell microorganisms. So they can undergo respirations, but the dough is a closed system. So under the limited oxygen supply, they would prefer to undergo anaerobic respirations, or also known as alcoholic fermentations. So this process can produce ethanol and carbon dioxide. And this carbon dioxide can be held by the gluten network. So the volume of the dough would be increased, and then it would enhance the texture of the dough. The third ingredient is the salt, and we add the salt for two reasons. The first reason is the salt having the retarding effect on the activities of the yeast. So imagine it is the cell of a yeast. So when we add the salt, so there's a lot of salt here, then the water comes out by osmosis, and it will decrease the rate of the fermentations of the yeast. So the carbon dioxide will not be produced very quickly. And the second reason is the salt can tighten the gluten structure. So this photo can show how the salt can strengthen the gluten structure. So let's just look at B and C. So the structure C are more effectively holding the carbon dioxide gas than the structure B.
So the next ingredient we'll talk about is brown sugar. It feeds the yeast, resulting in a faster rise. It provides flavor via the Maillard reaction. Besides, sugar actually helps to make the bread soft and tender by absorbing some of the water and slowing down the formation of gluten strands. Although our bread didn't involve baking process, it still aids in the browning of the crust via caramelization in the frying process. The next one is whole milk. It has approximately 87% of water. It helps increasing water absorbance in the dough stage. Dough made with milk should come softer from the mixture than dough made with water. It contains lactose and protein, which contributes in the Maillard reaction, contains fat, which contributes in the longer shelf life. Milk yields dough with higher pH value compared to water dough, which slows down the fermentation process. The fermentation tolerance will also be slightly improved. Moreover, the bench time will be extended as the dough ferments more slowly at this stage. The last one is vegetable oil. It can preserve the flavors. It prevents the water loss. Otherwise, the bread would become hot and dry, not as smooth as the bread with vegetable oil. What worth to be mentioned is that fats work as tenderizers in breads by coating some of the proteins that form gluten, preventing them from hydrating and linking up to form large networks that will lead to toughness.